So if you've ever thought something like, who does that? What's wrong with them? Why would they do that? Everyone knows that that's not okay. That's ridiculous. Who acts like that? Then you have come to the right place. We are going to talk about dealing with people that we find difficult. I'm going to teach you a tool that's going to kind of flip what you knew before about dealing with difficult people. We're going to flip that on its head and hopefully blow your mind a little bit when I teach you this tool. It is a good one and it works really well for helping us deal better with the people in our lives that kind of drive us crazy. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second, introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you're back again, say hello. Love hearing from all of you. Subscribe to the channel. The button is about right down there. Either way, my name is Kristina, and I'm a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of my membership community, the Shift Society, that you need to get your butt into. Big, amazing things are happening with the people in there. The link to get on the wait list is in the description. The only way to get in right now is through the wait list. So make sure that you get on the wait list. And if you are one of my shifters watching here right now, in the comment section, say hello and leave the hashtag shifter when you say hello in your comment. And yeah, I help heart center go-getter men and women break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And all of us have someone in our lives that we find difficult, or we have someone in our lives that we don't always find them difficult, but they sometimes do things that drive us crazy. If it's a parent, if it's a partner, if it's your boss, if it's your friend, if it's the person walking down the street, whomever that is, there's often someone that is driving us crazy. So I'm going to teach you this concept that is going to really help to save your sanity. If you've ever thought something like, my partner is a slob, or my partner is so uptight, or why is my mother-in-law so nosy, or why are my parents so unsupportive, or why is my boss so abrupt or so micromanagey, or why won't my colleague leave me alone? Then this tool is going to be revolutionary for that. And what the rule book is the idea that all of us are going through life with our own set of rules about how things are, about how the world should be, about how people should be, about what's called common knowledge, about what's normal, about what people just should be doing in general. We have rules. We have rules for ourselves about how we should be acting and what a good person is and what it means to be thoughtful and what it means to be lovely and what it means to be caring, or what it means to be strong, or what it means to be powerful. Like, we have all of these ideas, we have all of these rules and definitions in our rule book. And where we get into trouble is when we think that everyone else has the same rule book as us. Because the truth is, every human being has their own rule book. Now, some of us have rule books with some sections, some subsections, maybe even some chapters that do overlap. So we might make the mistake to think that, well, this person sees this thing the same way as me and they understand it the same way as me. So that means that we understand everything the same way and we have the same ideas and perspectives and thoughts about everything. And then when they don't follow the rules, we're like, what's wrong with them? They're not following the rules. But the truth is, they're not following our rules, but they are following their rules according to their rule book. Because the other truth is that most people existing on this planet, going around and being all difficult, don't actually think they are being difficult. They just think, for the most part, that they are just being normal, that they are just acting in accordance to what their rule book says is normal, reasonable, acceptable, rational, justifiable behavior. Have you ever thought about that before? How people in your life that you find difficult, they don't actually think they are difficult. So this is kind of a bit of a frustrating concept when we think about it, because the reason why someone is difficult is because of what's going on in here. More often than not, a difficult person is created in our minds. It's through our thoughts about how they should be acting, what they should be doing, what rules they are breaking, but they're not actually breaking any rules according to their rule book. They might have a completely different set of ideas about what it means to be messy. So if it's a partner who you think is a slob and who never picks up after themselves or leaves all the dishes in the sink, they might just think that that's completely reasonable, that their standard or their idea of what it means to live comfortably in a home is to leave stuff around, to get to the dishes at some point. And if that's different from your rule book that says everything has to be spick and span, neat and tidy, dishes done as soon as you are finished using them, everything picked up at the end of the day or several times a day, then those rule books are going to clash. And your partner might think you are being difficult and anal where you think you are being completely reasonable. And like, that's just normal, that cleanliness is next to godliness, don't they know? And they are thinking, why be so uptight? Things are just going to get messy again, so why bother cleaning all the time? And I'm not saying which one is right or wrong, but like the godliness thing, just kidding, sort of. But the truth is that they are not necessarily being a slob or being messy or being lazy. They have a different idea or set of rules of what things should look like, what a house should look like, what chores should be done, and when they should be done. And same thing with your nosy mother-in-law. She, according to her rule book, she might think that my daughter-in-law or my son-in-law's life, choices, parenting, whatever it is, it's completely my business. They are my family. And so I have a say, so I need to know, and I need to know what they're doing so I can give them my feedback and my input and my unsolicited advice that of course they want, because I'm just here to make their life better because that's my job. And so your mother-in-law, if this is an issue for you, she doesn't actually think she's being difficult or nosy or pushing boundaries or being inappropriate. She, according to her rule book, this is exactly how a mother-in-law should be acting. But it is driving you crazy because according to your rule book, this is very much not how a mother-in-law should be acting. And same thing goes for unsupportive parents. Most parents, even of our, as us as grown-ups, even our grown-up parents, us as grown-ups, and then our parents who are grown-ups, most parents of grown-ups, if you ask those parents whether or not they love and support their child, more often than not, they will say, yes, I support my child. Yes, I believe in my child. But so often, many of us don't think that. We think our parents are unsupportive, that they don't really believe in us, that they never really did. But they think they do. According to their rule book, they are following all the rules about what it means to be a supportive parent of an adult. And we think, according to our rule book, that they are doing nothing, that they're doing the opposite, that they are being overtly critical or judgmental or unsupportive. And so I'm not here to say who's right or who's wrong, but here to point out that people are playing by their own rule books. You might think that you're a boss is being really abrupt. You might have, according to your rules, you might think that if your boss is giving you feedback, they have to do, some kind of like constructive feedback, like something that's positive, like some kind of pointing out something that you're doing wrong, that you're doing right, that they have to give you some kind of affirmation, some kind of praise before they give you that feedback, before they tell you what they could be doing better, where they just come to you and they just tell you what you could be doing better. And so according to your rule book, you think that they're being abrupt and they're being rude and they don't appreciate you or they don't think you're doing anything right. You must obviously be doing a terrible job because they're not giving you all this praise and recognition. And so according to your rule book, now you've made it mean that they don't value you. They don't think you're any good. But according to their rule book, they might be thinking, I'm not going to talk about things that aren't a problem because they're not a problem. And this person's a grown-up and they don't need me to puff them up. I'm just going to tell them what needs to be done so that we can be efficient and get things done and move forward. According to their rule book, that is completely reasonable. So in all of these situations, the reason why we struggle, the reason why we get into conflict, the reason why things become problematic is because we have different rule books. And not only that, we think that because everyone is playing by the same rule book, that everyone has the same rule book as us. If they are overtly disregarding or disobeying the rules, they are doing it because there's something wrong with us because they don't love us. They don't think we're good enough. They don't care about us. They don't think we're valuable. And so not only are they not following our rules, and not only we're upset that they're not following the rules, then we take it a step further and often make it mean something terrible about us. Obviously, they don't care. Obviously, it's because I don't matter. Obviously, because they don't really love me or care about me or think anything of me. So do you see how that works? So it's often happened that when I've taught students or clients this concept, they've said, okay, Julia, so how do I get this person, my parent or my partner, whoever it is, how do I just show them my rule book so that they can play by my rules? And to that I say, no, that is not what we're after here. It is not other people's job to follow all of our rules, just like we wouldn't want them to come to us and say, here are my rules, and now it is your job to follow all of my rules. And if you don't, then you're a horrible human being, or whatever that is. Because none of us want to feel like it's our job to do whatever anyone else wants us to do, and that our existence is here to placate or please them. So the same way that, no, we don't show someone else our rule book and say, you have to follow all my rules. Now, in a close relationship, maybe it's appropriate to be able to have conversations to say, hey, can we negotiate this? Can we work this out? Can we come to a compromise? Can we come to an agreement? Can we agree to do this my way and we do this your way? Can we come to the middle on this one? Whatever that is. And you can do that, and that's great. But what's going to be even more helpful, more often than not, is to manage your own mind around your own rules and set your own boundaries for yourself. To make requests for alternatives, if that's what you would like to do, make requests about how you'd like someone to do things or say things or actions that you'd like them to take, but then also not banking on that being necessary for your happiness. Being able to take a step back and set your own boundaries when you need to, and meet your own needs when you need to, when it's important to you. Even that concept of understanding when we are getting ourselves all in a snit and all worked up and all upset and taking something personally or all hurt and worked up, that someone has done something against us, more often they are not doing it against us. They are doing it for them, because according to their rule book, this is normal, reasonable, and acceptable. And that concept in and of itself, without having to do anything else other than manage our own mind and realize that they're not doing necessarily something wrong, they're not necessarily even being difficult. They're just playing by their own rules, and those just happen to not be the same as my rules. It calms things down for us. It gives us a lot more ability to regulate our own emotions when we're not getting so caught up in it. Just knowing that most people, most of the time, are not sucking on purpose, and they are actually not even being objectively difficult. We might find them difficult, but it doesn't mean that they are being difficult. They are just existing in the world in a way that they think is an appropriate or reasonable way to exist in the world according to their rule book. We often find people most difficult when they are not acting how we want them to act, when they are not following our rules. Or when they're not following our rules, we find them difficult when we are not allowing ourselves to set our own boundaries and take care of ourselves, regardless of what it is that they are choosing to do or not do. If boundaries and speaking up for yourself is something that you struggle with, get my 25 ways to say no free document, free download. It's going to be in the description below. And this deeper work of unpacking this stuff and really getting into our own emotions and our own thoughts and our own subconscious beliefs and those things that we don't even often realize are going on, that are getting in our way and causing us all kinds of problems. This is the stuff we are diving deep into in the Shift Society. We are unlearning and undoing so that we can relearn and redo and live better. Come and join us in the Shift Society. Let me know what connected with you from this. What is this concept of the rule book? How did it land for you? How are you going to use it? In what ways did you find it helpful? Let me know in the comments section below. And like the video, share it out, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, like I said, share it out. If there are some people that you're like, I want them to know this, they need to know this. I think all of us need to know this. So share it with everyone. And until next time, take good care.